So you have, in order to understand what's happening to the dollar system, you have to understand its internal contradictions. And I would say that the contradictions begin from the fact that although the literature on US dollar hegemony would never say this in reality, or would rather actually imply that it is completely natural for the currency of the most important country or the most powerful country to be the world's currency. In reality, this has never been true. Going back to the early 20th century, the United States has wanted, US ruling elites have wanted to make the dollar the world's money. And what they have in mind is the ways the pound sterling was the world's money in the 19th century and in the early 20th century. They think that the dollar can play the same role, but the circumstances in which sterling played that role were very exceptional. In particular, Britain had a vast empire. The United States does not have colonies from which to extract surpluses. So the only way it can issue dollars, or it can provide the world with liquidity, is by running deficits. And these deficits have always been a problem. After 1971, in order to overcome the Triffin dilemma, the fact that the United States is spending more abroad than it is earning, which lowers the value of the dollar. What they have done is they have essentially expanded dollar-denominated financial activity. Although for trade and productive and investment reasons, people may not want the dollar, they may still want the dollar for speculative reasons and predatory reasons, and in order to essentially participate in this big financial casino that the United States has opened and operated since the 1970s. And so this has required the United States to constantly expand dollar-denominated financial activity, which is extremely volatile. It has been bad for the US economy. It has made the US economy productively weaker, and it has been a disaster for the rest of the world because it leads to regular financial crises. You remember the East Asian financial crisis, the 2008 financial crisis. These are built into the way in which the dollar operates. And today we have come to the reason why the dollar system is unraveling is that today we have come to the limits of the United States' ability to operate this casino. And once this casino begins to unravel, you will see the end of the dollar system. What you're talking about is what's generally known as weaponization of the dollar system. The dollar system has been weaponized in recent years as part of a larger strategy of the US administration to counter the decline of the US, the decline of the US economy, and then with that, the decline of the US's ability to influence world affairs, essentially US power over the world and therefore US imperialism. As all US power generally is declining, what the US has tried to do is it has tried to use every means at its disposal to try to somehow compensate for this, to punish those who are in the forefront of denying. You mentioned that they have taken away the reserves, of course, most recently of Russia, and before that of Afghanistan. And before that, remember, there was also Venezuela and Iran and so on. So the United States has always treated these countries badly. And I think the fact that they could do this in particular to Russia, permanent member of the Security Council, it is a major power, etc., etc. And so the fact that the US can do this has suddenly made people realize that this is a problem. Meanwhile, China and around China and the BRICS and so on, you can have a completely separate system of payments and of finance, which is focused on production and focused on trade, which is, necessary trade. And I think that this sort of system is now coming into being, and I think that is only a good thing. And because remember, when the dollar system existed, third world countries were constantly facing financial crisis. They were facing collapse in the value of their currency. They were facing capital flight. And none of these things have to happen in the new system, which I believe is emerging. the pattern of internationalization of the renminbi will be completely different from the way in which the dollar system has been internationalized. So the internationalization of the dollar system has involved essentially expanding a speculative and predatory financial system, which is the opposite of what we need for the sustainable and broad development of China or any other country of the world. I think the renminbi will continue to be internationalized. I think it will be internationalized in a way that supports the development of China and supports the development of those countries that are entering into a broad set of developmental agreements with China, whether it's the Belt and Road Initiative or the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, etc. So, and for trade purposes, China will certainly internationalize the renminbi to allow its trading partners to trade with China and so on. But China is also doing other things, for example, accepting other countries' currencies and so on. So this is going to be a very, very different international financial system.